I got a beef with you.
What happened? What did
I've
I
been
do?
waiting until we got on the podcast to discuss this. I have been suffering from a horrible parasocial relationship with some podcasters.
Oh, it's not me.
Not you.
Oh, God.
I have this parasocial relationship, and I have been feeling very badly.
Okay, explain what has happened.
Not only do I love the podcast and I appreciate the research and how, informed a couple of the hosts are about the topics that they talk about, but as a business, I've always kind of modeled what I would like to do on that business, because it's three friends who kind of, along with some other friends, started a podcast network. And when a few weeks ago, one of the hosts of the show had to step back. They said he had to take some time to work on his mental and physical well-being, which everybody took to be he's going to rehab because he's a big drunk, which they always talked about. Then it came out that has allegations, Me Too, essentially allegations.
Oh, he's been
him.
Me Too'd?
He's being Me Too'd currently. I feel horrible talking about that. It feels like we're just being gossip girls.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to hear anything about The Bachelorette. I don't watch The Bachelorette, but we have friends who do, and you don't get to talk shit after this.
Listen, this is why I'm saying you're not being supportive of my pain.
Okay.
All right.
Go on.
And we will get to something interesting here. From what we can tell as the fans, there are these two allegations against one of them, longtime girlfriend, in the middle of the relationship. They went on to date for a year after this experience. He was a piece of shit and a bad guy, right, when he would drink, right?
Yeah.
100% horrible.
A lot of people are bad drunks. You got to be careful. If you're a bad drunk, don't drink.
And then this other woman has a nothing story.
Oh, yeah, the other woman just is there. And I'm like, what are you doing here?
And it seems like a very vocal part of the fan base has demanded that Ben needs to go because he is an abuser and irredeemable and has got to go. And it seems to me like, well, it doesn't seem to me. What it looks like from the outside is that this network is siding with this very vocal minority screaming that got to go because they're all triggered by what he's done. That's what it looks like from the outside. What I'm hoping is that either has refused to get sober, that there is a legitimate, because to me it doesn't seem like enough from what the public knows, at least, to be like has to permanently go away.
Yeah, that seems pretty harsh.
I'm not saying I know everything. In fact, we probably do not. There are probably instances of getting drunk and being ridiculous or problematic or whatever. Again, it's unhealthy and bad, right? And I understand that I'm like, oh, this friend group, blah, blah, blah. I don't know any of them. This is like, this is almost as fascinating to me on the like tabloid side of it, that I'm like obsessed with the situation, but it's more insane to me how obsessed I am with this group of people that I do not know.
Well, people do it for the royals all the time.
Yeah.
It's just they're your royals. We all have our own celebrities now. Mm-hmm. Like there are people who are so famous that I would never be able to pick out in the grocery store because I just don't follow them.
Right.
Whereas the people I do follow, they might not be so famous. They might only have like 10,000 followers, but I know them. Right. So to me, they are famous.
And it's so interesting because it didn't, before the internet, obviously, it didn't really used to be that way.
Well, you had the movie stars and you had TV stars, and everybody, the people who were famous were famous.
Right. But they didn't cultivate a parasocial relationship with their fans. They actually, movie stars in the past were like, stay away from me. Like, I don't want you to feel like we're buddies.
They weren't so accessible.
Right. And that kind of gave them an air of like
mystery.
Not just, but like an air of, what's the word?
Grandeur?
Like an adult presence. Like they seemed so above it all.
Yeah. Well, those aren't that.
There's a word for it.
Yeah, that's not adult. Adults are just people who are over 18 who pay their taxes and show up to jury duty. We need to stop overusing the word adult.
Stop harassing me. So yes, you're attacking me.
Grandeur. You're talking about like royalty or whatever. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, they had an air of royalty about them, where you weren't supposed to feel so intimately connected.
Unapproachable.
Unapproachable is a good word.
A bit aloof.
It's not the word I was looking for, but it's a good word.
Okay, you used the word adult, which is a misuse of the word adult.
Let's move on from it.
All right. So basically, we're getting into this. The question we had during Me Too with Aziz Ansari allegations are, what do you have to do to be excommunicated? And there's no set standard.
No, there isn't. And, being in the comment section of this situation, it's just making me see that, like, there is that rabid
Mob mentality.
It's a mob mentality, and when it mixes with like therapy talk, I find it completely insufferable.
Well, the therapy talk is trying to convince people that you are more enlightened than them, that you are more sensitive and all this other stuff. But it's just being used to justify very base emotional actions.
Right.
So that's why it's so annoying when people use therapy talk to act up.
And it's like it seems like most of these comments that are basically like, you got to kick him off the show. He can't be a part of the network anymore. Want to talk about their own trauma and how he has to go to support victims.
Are you worried that the Me Too lynch mobs have not gone away? In fact, they've gotten stronger and they just need something new?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, if this is indicative of anything, it's that, we haven't reached kind of the center of the pendulum on Me Too, because it definitely something needed to happen.
Absolutely.
The
something
movement
needs
was
to happen.
1,000% necessary. It swung way crazy. Just for one example is Aziz Ansari. The most impactful example is probably Al Franken.
Al Franken. Yeah, absolutely. Al Franken went away for absolutely nothing.
He didn't do anything.
He should be president right now. Now, that's exactly what happened in Game of Thrones. They kept killing the adults, and then there was nobody to lead.
That's exactly it.
So that's Al Franken. And for people who don't know, Al Franken got taken out because he had a joke picture from like 2000.
Yeah, he was at a USO tour overseas, and there was a woman asleep in a chair, and he had his hands out like pretending to grope her.
And he didn't grope her.
And he definitely didn't grope her. What came out after he resigned, because he was basically forced into resigning from the Democratic Party, he resigned his Senate seat?
Senate seat.
He was a senator.
The best one the Democrats had.
Yes.
The best one.
By far.
The only one who could have been president.
Yeah. And so it makes me sad.
I mean, that's fair. But you remember Me Too a couple years ago.
Yeah.
There were men who were going down for very, very small things.
Yeah.
And my thing that bothered me the most about that was, remember the mattress girl situation?
Oh my God, Mattress Gate. Yeah.
Mattress Gate.
Tell the people about Mattress Gate. If you don't remember, this was early.
Yeah, this is one of the earlier allegations, and then this girl was going around the campus. I forget if it was Cornell. She was going around the campus with a mattress tied to her back. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, why do you have a mattress tied to your back? And she was like, because I was raped on a mattress. And so I was like, oh my God, that's pretty severe. So obviously people got behind her. Even I got behind her. And I was like, she was raped on this mattress.
Well, she was saying that the school wasn't doing anything about it.
Yes.
So that's why she was carrying around a mattress.
Yeah. So she was saying the school wasn't listening to her. And so she's carrying around this mattress to get people to actually pay attention to what had happened to her. And I was like, well, that is really creative and good. I can't believe the school's not listening to her.
Right. And to raise awareness for rape culture in schools and stuff.
Yeah, this is a big issue.
Was it a project?
She ended up doing it for a project, but...
Hold
for baby.
So yeah, I think she was doing it for a school project.
She was an arts major. Yeah. So this story got around. People referred to her as Mattress Girl. This was a big thing. And then the man that she accused, the boy, but man, because she's over 18, came out with DMs. So direct messages from Facebook where she told him she wanted to do this act with him. Mm-hmm. It was anal. And that's what she was accusing him of. And the only evidence, this was he said, she said before that. And of course, most people believe the woman because you know how these men be.
Well, this was before the hashtag believe all women.
Yeah, this
kind of came out. Believe all women kind of came out of this.
Yes, but we were still believing all women because people believe women. It's been in thousands of years of women being sexually abused and ignored.
Right.
So it wasn't really that far-fetched to think this person was sexually abused and ignored.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously people believe her.
Right.
Even I believed her at first.
Yeah. And then the text came out and it showed that they had consensually hooked up, that she had hit him up after the fact, that had like even been like, hey, we got to hang out again after the fact. And that he basically ghosted her. And it turned out he was just a dick. And I think, didn't he get expelled from the school?
I'm not sure if he got expelled.
I think they took some sort of action against him.
Or if they just ruined his life. Because I remember him suing.
Yeah, that's what it was. So basically just her carrying around that mattress, getting national attention, and naming him. He was able to make the claim that like, yo, you've ruined my reputation. All I did was be a dick, which is not illegal.
Yeah. We don't know, but we just know that there's evidence to say that he was telling the truth. And there's no evidence to say that she was telling the truth.
Right.
So the only bit of evidence that there was, these written communications, fell on his side.
Right. And then I think what really, it was sort of a wake-up moment for you and me, was the people on the left being like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if
all the
she's
proof
lying.
says that she's lying. You have to believe all women.
Yeah, you have to support women no matter what. That is kind of the environment we're in, where it's just like believe all women and support all women before all the evidence comes out. Mm-hmm. And if evidence comes out to the contrary, you're better off having supported the woman.
Right.
For kind of the culture,
right?
The feminism culture.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to talk about it on here, but I get the same sensation I got from that fan base during like COVID. They became radical, like get the vaccine people, and I'm like, this. I came to this through a very punk rock, like kind of live your life the way you want attitude, and it seems like it's the perfect encapsulation, that fan base, of the left going from live the way you want to live the way you're told by Democrats.
Yeah, no, and that's true. That entire... We say this all the time because we're technically liberals, but that means like you're supposed to have the freedom to do what you want with your life as long as you're not bothering anybody. That's what liberty means.
Right.
And that side, you can't really call them liberals anymore. There's something else, but you can't call them liberals. Yeah. You guys call them blue team because they did kind of get a little crazy. Not just during COVID.
Yeah, there's got to be a better word for it.
I just call them blue team.
Yeah.
Because if you don't take the right stand, whether it's Me Too, whether it's COVID, whether it's whatever new thing they come out with tomorrow, then, you know, they'll throw you in the trash because you're a heretic, you're an apostate. If they're listening to this podcast, I'm like, oh my God, they're going against our core values. These people are apostates. They're liberal apostates. So that's why they come at former liberals the hardest, and that drives the former liberals to the right,
like harder and harder to the right.
Yeah.
And it's, man, there has to be a centrist in it. Now it means something. I feel like when we were coming up, centrist didn't really mean anything.
Well, I thought it was a Republican. When I was a teenager, they're like, centrist? You mean a Republican?
Yeah.
Well, because also up in New England, in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, our Republicans are centrists. Mm-hmm. So when anyone said centrist, I was like, you mean like Mitt Romney, who's a Republican. But like now, a centrist would be basically a liberal from 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's somebody not funded by the pharmaceutical industry who doesn't want kids being at drag shows, but also...
You're mixing a lot.
I'm mixing a lot of stuff.
You're doing a lot right now.
Saying.
I know what you're saying.
I am aggrieved.
But I know what you're saying. So a lot of people would call Team Blue the woke team.
Yeah.
And so anybody who doesn't go along with that basically is centrist.
Yeah.
And then you have the other side, the red pill, which everything's gotten so dumb, we have to describe it through hashtags because people can't understand it. Except through hashtags. Hey YouTube, this has been a clip from my Patreon podcast. If you want to listen to the whole thing, we release them every week on my Patreon. Click the link at the bottom and you can get all the goodness. This week we talked about Tony's unhealthy parasocial relationship with the podcast network. We talked about Gen Z, are they smarter or are they dumber? And we kind of fished out a crystal scam that you might be able to get in on. So check that out.